Hey everybody, welcome to another action figure unboxing and review, and today we're taking a look at the G.I.Joe classified Cobra Hiss Techno-Viper and HMS, which stands for Heat Seek Missile System. This is based on the original SMS from back in the day. I think that was a part of a Sears 2-pack that came with a Hiss as well, and the SMS in that regard stood for the Sentry Missile System. And that particular SMS was a copy of the G.I.Joe MMS, which came with Colonel Hawk in the original 1982 release set. That was one of the original vehicles and figure sets that came out in the very first wave of G.I. Joe when it was first released in the 3 3/4 inch line back in 1982. If you recall last week in my videos, I said I was going to take a break from G.I. Joe this week, but then the HMS and the Vamp got dropped on my doorstep earlier than expected. So I'm going to take a look at both of them this week instead. And next week I'll do something else instead of G.I. Joe. So today will be the HMS, and then Friday will be the Vamp. So stay tuned for that one. And let's take a look at this right now. Now, I've already removed this from the box and put it together at least once just to make sure everything's in working order and everything. So when I remove it to do the unboxing, it's gonna be out of the packaging, you know. It's gonna be all the tape and the plastic ties are gonna be removed and everything, so it'll be a quicker to put it together, so I won't have to sit there cutting things and whatnot. But let's take a look at the box. As you can see, it's part of the Hiss set, so we have the same type of 788 artwork, just like that's on the box for the Hiss, as well as the 788 fire team. And you can see a couple of Hisses in the background there, and there's the Techno-Viper with the HMS right there. And they got the Cobra Hiss logo there. On the top, G.I. Joe Classified Series, Semper Fidelis Serpens. And of course you can see that image of the Hiss right there. Legalese on the bottom. Got the Cobra Hiss logo on the side there. A close-up of the Techno-Viper right there. This is number 111 in the line. And then in the back you've got kind of a not quite as detailed as a blueprint that used to come with the old vehicles in the 80s. I wish they still did that. That would have been nice. But that's basically what we get here. It's kind of a blueprint style design that shows everything that comes in the box, although some of it's already put together, like the wheels, the front legs, the tow hitch, and the missile rack are all attached already, but they're loose in the box. But all this other stuff is there too, so make sure you got everything when you're taking your HMS out. And then you got more legalese on the bottom there. And that's it for the box. Very basic, not anything really exciting, minus the color, which kind of looks cool, and of course the artwork, which looks nice as well. All right. So in the box, it kind of looks like this. Figures over here. Unfortunately, we don't have that figure artwork there. The crate, the ammo crate, comes like underneath here like that, just hanging loose, and then the rest of it's all in like this. These two things are taped in, and these two are tied in with plastic strips, which I've already removed. Actually, the missiles did have plastic strips on them too. The missiles come in this plastic tray, like so. The wheels come in this cardboard box, like so. And these flaps right there allow you to plug it into the holes on the edge here. And then like that. And when you get it fresh out of the box, this is taped down. See? And then these two things are tied down inside the box with twisty ties. Well, not twisty ties, but the more sturdier ties. So let's look at this piece by piece before we put it together. That way it'll be easier to see everything. So this is the base, and the base it's hollow plastic, so it doesn't weigh very much, but it's still pretty solid, and it's got some nice tampos on it, some good detail. And of course, it's got a fan on the bottom here that doesn't move. It's just kind of like painted in, but it's a good touch. It's a nice touch. A lot of this stuff is going to be covered when you put everything else in it, but this way you can see how it looks beforehand. It's got the Semper Fidelis Serpens logo there, and on the back you got stand back, and then tail lights. Wheel lock adjust, got some warning signs, danger, all these little touches that they didn't have to do, but it makes it look, more realistic. Come on, focus. All right, the only thing that comes attached out of the box are these legs. They're already on, and they go up and down just like that. Fairly simple. Let's see. Let me get everything else out of the locker before I continue. That way I can do everything at once. Don't have to pause to do the rest of it. All right. So the first thing I will put on are the other legs, the front legs. They go on in this manner so that this looks like this when you're done. Now, these are very tight, and it requires quite a bit of force to get them in there. But you want to keep pushing until you hear it snap, like you probably just did on the camera. And when it's done, it'll look something like that. And then, of course, it can fold up when you want to use the wheels. And then the other leg goes in the same manner. It does feel sturdy, so if you're concerned about snapping something, don't be, because it seems pretty solid. At least this is the second time I put it together, and I haven't had any problems so far. We'll get the tow hitch in next because it's right here. So this is what it looks like out of the box. Just a piece of black plastic with some nice chrome, like metal look, stainless steel or whatever look design right there. And that goes in the back here. You can see those pegs at the bottom there, and there's the openings there. You just kind of slide that in. And you just push it until it snaps into place. And then it has this setting here that you can use for I believe this is for the hiss, or this actually might be for the stinger, the eventual stinger. We haven't got it yet. But then if you want to attach it to the hiss, you just push it up like that, and this comes forward like that. And then fairly simple. Just like that. Nice and easy. All right, next we'll put the missile launcher device on. And here is that. And we got this anti-jam tamper right here. Anti-aircraft joint asset movement system equipped with hydraulic launch elevation mod, serial number, blah, 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 blah. And that's on both sides, and it also has brake lights or some kind of lights device on the back there. And this is plastic here, or it's plastic all over, but it's, again, hollow there. But these parts here are very solid. They're thinner than the other pieces so that I've shown you, but they're very solid plastic, so they're not going to break easily. And of course, the arm can move up and down. It's got those metal bars right there. And once you get it on, you can twist it side to side as well. And I'll do that right now. You can see the peg there on the bottom, and there's the top. And that just pops into place right there. And now it slides around. And now you got the wheels. These are the same wheels that come on the Vamp, I'm pretty sure. They're just not colored green like the Vamp ones. These are just gray with black. And yeah, these are soft wheels. They're made of some kind of synthetic rubber type thing. They don't quite bounce like rubber. So. But it's pretty good. Rubber would have cost more, I imagine. So, there's the peg for those, a little lock for that. And those just snap on pretty easily. This all comes apart pretty easily too, so if you want to take it apart to store it away, it's not that difficult to do. Last thing we'll do is there's the computer control console. Mostly all in gray, but we got some purple or lavender or whatever dots right there to give it a little bit of color. A little bit more color would have been nice, but you get what you get. And that comes with a cover that you just slide right on. And pretty easily to display. And then you can just... It's pretty easy to get on and off. Yeah. Let's see. I don't have my hiss out at the moment because of, like I said, space concerns. So I can't attach it to the hiss, but the best I can do is attach the missiles now. And they've got peg holes in the bottom. The missiles are pretty solid. The fins are a little bit of a softer plastic. In fact, I think the back part is pretty solid too. The rest of it's all pretty solid. They're probably hollow on the inside, but because they're so big, they feel pretty substantial. We could probably throw that at someone and hurt them if you threw it hard enough. Definitely take an eye out if you hit them in the eye with this pointy part. And of course it says Heatseek X03 and they got the Cobra logo on it. But these missiles are pretty big, so you can see him standing next to the Techno-Viper, who's like 6.4 inches. So, and the missile still goes off the screen. Move it further back here. There you go. So the missile is about another 3 or 4 inches bigger than the Techno-Viper. So, and they slide in just like I showed. And this thing looks really small out of the box, believe it or not. I thought it did, at least when I first opened it and was looking at the individual pieces. I was like, this is kind of small. But once I put it together, I saw how substantial it was. I don't know if it's $75 worth of size, but it's definitely bigger than the Turbo Bubble and the Rams. So maybe I wouldn't have made it 75, but 60 or 65 probably seems more of a fair price for it, to be honest. But 75, isn't bad. I'm not going to say it's a terrible price, but it is a cool device, though. And we'll probably get another one of these, the G.I. Joe version, because they had one. In fact, they had the first one. This was the Cobra version was actually a copy of a repaint of the G.I. Joe's version. So we'll probably get a Joe version, but I don't know if it'll come with a Colonel Hawk figure since we already have the general version of Hawk, or it might come with a completely different character that it didn't originally come with, like Grand Slam or Zap or someone that didn't come with a vehicle in the original 82 line, or maybe a completely different character altogether, so who knows. But there's the HMS part of the review. Pretty solid vehicle. It's just as good by itself as it is with another vehicle. Of course, you can't, if you're going to use it on its own, you can't put it on its wheels or else it'll fall over. It's got to have the stands down in order to make use of it. But now we can take a look at the operator, and I'm just going to move this to the side so the camera won't keep trying to focus on the vehicle. And here we have the black, gray, and red Techno-Viper. I actually do have the purple Techno-Viper in-house as well, but I'll get to his review at some other point. I really wanted to do the vehicle first because I assume that people are more interested in the vehicles. But he looks pretty good in this color scheme, I think. Now, obviously, people who grew up in the 80s are used to the Techno-Viper in the purple color, so seeing him like this is kind of strange. But it's not a bad color swap. It's not a bad repaint. I think a Python Patrol version of this would look pretty cool too, as well as a Crimson version, like to go with the Crimson Strike team. So they have options. An Arctic version. Oh man, can you imagine this in white? Kind of white and black color scheme. That would look really good. So they should do that more. We need more Arctic troops to go along with the Snow Serpent and the Bat. They need to give us an Arctic Viper and an Arctic Cobra Trooper, an Arctic Officer, Arctic Tele-Viper. Just give me all the repaints. I'm all for having a very colorful looking Cobra army. So I haven't done the actual Techno-Viper review yet, so I'm going to go over this the same way as I would do that one. And I'm going to try not to like speed rush through the purple one when I get to him. But yeah, good paint apps on this. Reds, blacks, grays, all looks good. The silver on the hoses looks really nice. He's got this one that goes around to his back, which I don't know what purpose that serves. And then he has this one as well. Some of these hoses don't look like they do anything, because it's basically just attaching one piece of fabric to the other. I mean, there's nothing there for it to peg into. It's not like he's got a oxygen tank that he's got these hoses stuck in. And then he has on either side, he's got these display devices. Yeah. That one's got like a globe type thing on it, and the other one has Cobra. It's Cobra logo, and looks like a password type situation, and you can type in a password or voice identification. These are both removable. They're both overlays. If you pop his hands off, you can slide those off. He also has a belt attached to his gun holster as his other overlay. The hoses are all glued on or sculpted in. I'm not quite sure exactly which. I think this is probably sculpt, yeah. And he's got these yellow eyes with some silver trim around the top there, and over the top of his head with some black design as well as some reds. A bit of gray on the faceplate, gray bodysuit underneath, and a nice black Cobra logo on the chest. He's got 2 shoulder pads there. He's got knee pads as well as boots. And his boots look, they look kind of like wrap rather than texture, which is kind of weird. I'm not sure who had these boots before. I probably would have given him like the Cobra Soldier or the Viper's boots or something like that. But yeah. So going over articulation. Yeah, he's got just the dumbbell at the top of the head, no hinge. And his neck seems to be off a bit. Yeah, it looks like they his neck kind of tilts to the left a little bit. That's probably just a QC issue from mine. The rest of you probably won't have that issue. Well, hopefully you won't have it. So he can look about that far down, that far up. He can do the exorcist. He's got a lot of tilt. His arm can go all the way around. He does have a butterfly joint. And this right here is attached into the shoulder at some point. So when you move his arm up for the T pose, strike that. When you move his arm up for the Y pose, he can hit a Y pose. The shoulders move right out of the way. And you can see the straps on either side are cut so they're not attached, which allows it more movement. But when it comes back down, it looks like it's attached, see? So that's kind of cool. It's not something that I just broke or anything. It actually comes that way. But it lets you move it and get the shoulders out of the way. So that's a nice innovation that they'll probably revisit in future figures. He does have the bicep cut. He's got the double jointed pinless arms, pinless elbows. Yeah, they are double jointed. That one just won't come free. Let's try this one. Yeah, there we go. See, it is moving. Yeah. All right. He has a ab crunch. Oh wait, the wrists. I forgot the wrists. He's got horizontal on the right and on the left. So he can crouch, crunch forward about that far. And he can go back about that far. You can twist at the waist. And when you do he does do the Van Damme, but of course that will slide all the way down to his knee. But it'll go back again when you put the leg back into place. He can kick up about that high. And he can kick out about that far. He does have the thigh cut on both sides. And he's got the double jointed pinless knees. Boot cut. Foot pegs back about that, hinges back about that far. And can hinge forward about that far. It does have rocker ability. And it's got peg holes on the bottom. Accessory wise, he does come with this little display screen, holographic display screen here. This is pretty nice looking. And mine looks like it's got some gunk on it. There we go. And that can peg in on either forearm. It's got a hole on either side, so you can peg it whichever one you want. It just sticks in right there. There you go. Now you can communicate with Cobra Commander or whoever. Pop that back out. He also comes with this backpack. Actually, I'll go to the gun first. He comes with this pistol. which has a peg hole for blast effects. This is one of the newer ones. This replaces that little laser pistol that they all came with originally. Now some of them have different style guns in this, different style pistols, but I've seen this one quite a bit. So this one seems to be like the standard gun that they give to troops these days, as opposed to the one that they started with that didn't have peg holes for blast effects. So that goes into his holster there. And he got this backpack. And it's got 2 red oxygen tanks, or some kind of tanks at the bottom. It's got that little fan there. Its blades are nice and painted silver, so that's a nice touch. It does have some other detail on it. This is kind of weird because it looks like the peg should be a little bit higher up, because if you put it on him the way it's supposed to look, it's a little high on his back, as you can see. But then that might be on purpose, so that looks like that hose is going into the tanks. I don't know. I've seen some people use it like this, just so that it's not sticking way up over his head, or behind his head, rather. But this is the incorrect way to position it. It should be positioned like this. But the peg should be higher as well, so it doesn't sit so high on his back. Another problem is if you put it like this, then the hose that it comes with has to stretch further to get to his gun. So this way is probably preferable, because it lets the hose reach his gun easier. And speaking of the hose, he has one of these hoses. He has 2 slots, but they only give us 1 hose, unfortunately. So I've seen some people take a hose from their, like they buy multiple Techno-Vipers and they take the hose out of their second Techno-Viper and use both hoses for one Techno-Viper. So you can do that if you've got more than one. And you can plug that hose into there. And then the other end you can plug into his gun, which is all black. And it's got a peg hole in the front for blast effects. I'm not sure exactly what type of gun this is supposed to be. I'm just going to assume it's a laser gun. It looks futuristic enough. It is similar to the one the original figure came with. So we got that. So that's nice. But yeah, again, I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to fire. I'm going to assume it's lasers. G.I.Joe is a laser-heavy line. And then the other side of the hose can go into the top of the gun like so. And then lastly, he comes with his tools. He has this wrench type deal. And I'm probably going to go over and paint some of these silver. Give them more of a metal look instead of leaving them all black. He also comes with this kind of a, I guess that could be a pliers maybe. These can squeeze together to tighten something. And then lastly, he comes with a hammer. This is the automatic electric hammer invented by Homer Simpson and design stolen by Destra to use with the Techno-Vipers. And all these tools go into his backpack. They just slide right into the slots in the top. From top to bottom. And of course they all have pegs on the bottom too, so you can take that hose and stick it in either one of those to have him use the tools when you're not having him use the gun. But I'll leave him with the gun for now. So yeah, the Techno-Viper and HMS just released. I think some of the people in America might not even have him yet. You might have gotten your shipping notices, but you might not have it in hand yet. And it's a really, really good set to go along with your Hiss and your future Stinger. I'm probably going to use mine with the Stinger. I'm actually hoping that the classified Stinger won't come with a missile rack like the OG one did. I'm actually hoping it'll just be a repainted vamp with twin machine guns on the back as well, because I really want to use the HMS with the Stinger rather than the Hiss. And I think it'll look weird having a missile rack on the back and then towing another missile launcher behind it. Like, it's going to need guns to defend itself, not just missiles. Otherwise, how is it going to defend itself from just Joe infantry, you know? It would be a match for any Dragonfly or Mauler, but the Joes start coming at the Stinger with just roadblock and gung-ho or something. What's he going to do? Fire missiles at them? But anyway, good looking set. Like I said, would definitely get it, but you can probably wait. I don't see this one selling out like the Vamp did. It's not as much of a must get for some people, and I can understand that. So if you're lucky, you might be able to pick it up discounted at some point. Probably not at Ollie's or Ross's, but Pulse does do its own outlet sales, so you might see it there after given enough time. Or you could just buy it now if you don't want to wait. Now that it's out, people might decide they want to buy it. Like, some people won't pre-order something, they'll just wait till it's released, and then once it's released and they know they can just pay for it and get it immediately, instead of having to wait, they'll do that. So your choice. But if you're a fan of the line, this is definitely a must get. Pretty much everything in classified is a must get these days. They haven't really made too many, if any, mistakes in the line thus far. Everything's been pretty good. Even characters I didn't necessarily like growing up have looked pretty good in this line, and characters that I didn't even know or care about, like Helix and Shooter, have also looked pretty good in the line. So everything's looking good so far for classified. They're doing a bang-up job. In fact, I think I've noticed that this year, Marvel Legends crew has really been stepping it up and knocking it out of the park compared to last year or the year before. And I think part of that has to do with how well Classified's been doing. So I think Marvel Legends is upping their game to try to do a little friendly in-house competition with the Classified team. And I think it's showing. They're trying harder over in Marvel, over in the Legends side. And I think they're putting in some good work there and doing some good things with Legends. So they got two pretty decent lines now in Classified and Legends. Now we just need Black Series to pick it up. And Hasbro will have a viable action figure set again. Of course, there's also Transformers. They've always been doing pretty well, so can't really say anything bad about Transformers. I don't collect them at the moment. I've got too many lines to deal with. But they do look good, the Transformers. So just need Black Series to pick up the slack now. They're tailing behind in the relay. So comment down below, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the Vamp on Friday. And I'll see you next time.